Aloha! Welcome to another episode of Think Tech Hawaii's Education, Movers, Shakers, and Reformers. I'm your host, Carl Campagna. Before we begin, let me offer a brief update on a very important case related to teachers and teachers' unions specifically. I'm referring to the Fredericks versus California Teachers Association Supreme Court case. This case would have forced unions to provide services and benefits to workers who do not pay union dues, and was decided earlier this year in support of the unions. However, there was an immediate request to reconsider the case by the plaintiffs. Just yesterday, June 28, 2016, the Supreme Court justices denied the petitions for the rehearing. This means that the case is effectively closed. This is good news for unions and union-based teachers, as this was yet another effort in a string of anti-union attack on labor initiatives intended to weaken all unions. Unions and collective bargaining are vital, as it is the best way for labor, in this case teachers, to ensure fair and reasonable conditions, wages, and benefits. Unions are and have historically been the basis for the growth of the middle class. I say hear, hear to the Supreme Court of the United States. And now we turn to our regularly scheduled show. Many people believe that education can be the silver bullet or the linchpin that can help solve problems like homelessness, drug addiction, social divisions, and income inequality. And in Hawaii, of all places, where our many intertwined cultures cherish our Keiki and do all we can to open doors for their successes, we assume that a high priority is placed on having a world-class educational system. But is it? On this show, we talk about the programs available to our Keiki, the quality of our facilities and infrastructure, addressing deferred maintenance, increasing the number of cool rooms for our Keiki and teachers, a more comprehensive curriculum approach, as well as appropriately recognizing and valuing our teachers and administrative staff. And perhaps most importantly, what life and career opportunities are we providing for our Keiki to thrive today and into the future? Project Vision is a mobile screening unit that provides free vision screenings and advocates for the early detection of eye diseases and disorders. Stay with us today as we discuss vision screening and our Keiki with Ms. Annie Valentin of Project Vision Hawaii. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Carl.
Excellent. No, we appreciate it. We've had a range of people come to the show to talk about all matters that affect our children. Mm-hmm. And it's really from pre-K to PhD. I consider them all children, certainly at my age. So what I want to start with is tell us about Project Vision Hawaii. What is it that you do? I explained a little bit, but tell us about what you do and how you do it.
Well, we do everything to do with eyeballs, essentially. We serve everyone from pre-K to PhD. Most people have eyeballs, and some people don't.
Some people don't.
And vision is often overlooked. So we have different programs that serve different target populations. Our primary target population is people with access to care issues. We define that as accessibility, is there access to eye care? Affordability, can they afford it? And appropriateness, is it in the right language? Is it delivered in a culturally competent way? And we have 3 mobile screening units, and we have staff in all counties around the state that provide our different programs. So our Keiki program is, I think, what we're really going to focus on the most today, but I'll kind of go through an outline of all of our programs.
Sure, please.
So I'll start with Kupuna, since we're going to talk the most about Keiki. We are working on launching a fall prevention program. This is our newest program that we're working on. There's 4 pillars of fall prevention: medication management, mobility, home safety, and vision. And based on the Department of Health's Fall Prevention Consortium at Department of Health, they have identified vision checks as something that is very important, and it is not being done for our seniors.
Yeah.
So we are going to be going into senior housing facilities. We've done some of it, but we're working with University of Hawaii also to provide the other educational materials around the vision check. So, that's our kupuna program.
And that
that's the
launches this
newest.
fall?
Yes, so
Okay, that's
that
excellent. That's excellent.
yeah, so we're, still planning and processing that, but we've been in a lot of conversations to make it a really positive thing.
Do you have partners that you're working together with that?
University of Hawaii is someone we've been talking with, and Stan Michaels at Department of Health is also
Okay.
someone who's been helping us and guiding us.
Okay.
We also have our Weahui for Health. So I mentioned we have our mobile screening units. So we have these RVs that we go, we have a good relationship with Young Brothers, and they help ship them to even Molokai and Lanai.
Oh, good.
And we have community events around our vision screening. So we do vision screenings and retinal screenings. So we'll actually show people their retina. And I don't know if many of you have seen, James Bond movies where everyone has a retina, and everyone has a retina that is unique to them. So it's like a fingerprint. And we can show people the comparison of what a healthy retina looks like and what a diabetic retina looks like.
Oh, wow.
And so you can actually have that one-on-one connection with what's going on inside your body by looking into someone's eye.
I think that's fascinating. Let's hear more about that after a quick little break we have to take.
Okay.
Okay, so apologize for jumping in, but I'll just take a quick break. Thank you and welcome again to Think Tech Hawaii's Education Movers, Shakers, and Reformers. See you in a minute.
Aloha, my name is Josh Green. I serve as senator from the Big Island on the Kona side, and I'm also an emergency room physician. My program here on Think Tech is called Healthcare in Hawaii. I'll have guests that should be interesting to you twice a month. We'll talk about issues that range from mental health care to drug addiction to our healthcare system and any challenges that we face here in Hawaii. We hope you'll join us. Again, thanks for supporting Think Tech.
Hi, my name is Kim Lau, and I'm the host of Hawaii Rising. You can watch me live every other Monday at 4 p.m. Aloha!
Aloha, this is Reg Baker with Business in Hawaii. We're a show that broadcasts every Thursday at 2 o'clock. We would love to hear from you, and you can reach us in several different ways. We have a hotline that you can call in at 415-871-2474, or you can email us at thinktechhawaii.com, or you can tweet us at thinktechhi. Looking forward to hearing from you and seeing you on our next show. Aloha.
Aloha and welcome to Think Tech Hawaii. I am Ina Chang. I am the guest host for Small Business Hawaii with Reg Baker. Tune in every Thursday at 2 p.m. and watch us. Aloha.
Welcome back to Think Tech Hawaii's Education Movers, Shakers, and Reformers. I'm your host, Carl Campagna. Once again, we have with us today Executive Director of Project Vision Hawaii, Ms. Annie Valentin. So, okay, we were talking about your Weahui program, as well as retinal screening and James Bond a little bit. So let's jump back into that.
Yeah, so we have the second program that we were talking about is the Weahui for Health. So it's a program and it's a culture of our organization in that we collaborate with partners who are already existing experts in the field of prevention, whatever it may be, whether it be women's health, whether it be hepatitis screening, whether it be caregiving counseling. So we facilitate wellness events or join on to wellness events already existing statewide on all islands except Koho'olave and Ni'ihau. We hope to someday go to Ni'ihau. And we kind of rally around the bus. So we just recently, for example, got back from Molokai. That was in February, where we were able to provide 240 people with different health screenings. And then we went into the schools to do our Keiki vision screening programs. So yeah, and that's just, we do that program statewide, working with partners, again, maximizing already existing resources. I mentioned the Keiki program, which is kind of the next program and probably the primary focus of our discussion today in terms of education and the importance of vision for children and for adults, of course. Hawaii is one of 8 states, as you know, without a vision screening program.
Yes. In fact, let's go into that a little bit. Okay, yes, you mentioned Hawaii is one of 8 states that does not have a vision screening program that is administered through the Department of Health or in any other capacity. And that's where your program is sort of trying to pick up that slack, or definitely picks up that slack, right?
We work with Lions Clubs as well as
Right.
Rotaries and existing volunteer organizations that are passionate about this cause to deliver these services in the schools.
Which is very important. I have actually participated in at least a couple of those with the Lions Club, and I know the kids that come through, and they're able to do these pretty quickly, actually. The kids that come through, every now and then we have a kid who, you know what, hey, they registered in a way that more assessment is needed to help
Yes.
them to make sure that they can see the board, because that's what it comes down to.
Yes.
And you don't recognize it. You don't know. The kids don't know. All they know is they're having a hard time understanding, and they don't get it.
Yeah.
So that's why this is vital. So, okay, let's start with the program was made law in what, 1989, right?
Yes.
And then so it went on for about 10 years. And then from a state side, from a state program, through the Department of Health.
Yes.
But then that program lost its funding, or the funding changed. They decided not to fund that program any further. In 1997, correct?
That was in 1997, yes.
Do you have any insight into that? I know it was a
I-
while ago, but as to
well,
why, or if there were any reasons why they felt it was okay
know,
to let that go.
It was a time of economic downturn, but as you've discussed, it just wasn't a priority for the Department of Health at the time. From my discussions with Department of Health now, they've refocused their priority on the children and on school-based screenings. And so a little bit of history about that. Since, you mentioned the Lions Club go into the schools, and so does Project Vision and Rotary, but there's really no surveillance on what schools have been screened and what schools have not been screened. So a lot of these schools, it's like more of I like this school and I know the principal, so I'm going to screen this school.
And I have a huge problem with that. I have a huge problem with that, because that means not all schools are getting serviced, which means there are, and how do these schools get selected? And maybe some schools are going back to 1 or 2 or 3 times because it's where someone's kid goes, it's where someone, their friend is a teacher. So they're going to keep going back there. Well,
Yeah.
that's great for those kids, it's wonderful. But
Yeah.
what about all the other schools that aren't getting that service? It's great to hear that the Department of Health is reprioritizing it. Do you have an idea of what might be coming then, as far as the Department of Health?
Well, there's been, as I'm sure you're aware, a lot of movements in school-based health happening at the legislature.
Yes.
So with the Hawaii Keiki nursing program, which is one of our great partners that we work with to provide services, they have now nurse practitioners who are overseeing school health aides and areas to make sure that the certain checklist of services are being provided to these children in these, but that's not all complex areas that we should keep in mind.
Right.
That's special zones of innovation. So, the goal is, for Project Vision standpoint, is to see a consistent program delivered in the same way with a mechanism of follow-up in place with someone overseeing that. And we did submit a bill, or we didn't submit it, we supported a bill in the legislature to try to get the state to put an FTE in their budget for just school-based screening as far as a surveillance public health standpoint.
Yeah,
And
this is one of those programs that, as I suggested in my introduction, we assume a number of things. We assume that a high priority is placed on areas that, as a parent, we would want, first of all.
yeah, you got a vision screening probably in your school when you were
When I
kid.
was a kid, yes, I did. But we assume that's true. And I know for us, okay, our kids, we have health care, so we've made sure in every opportunity that we think we see one of our kids squinting, we go, okay, we're gonna make an appointment the next day. So we get that, but that's not the case for everyone, and we need to make sure that it's available to everyone. Health care in general, but vision is one big piece of it, and it really covers a lot of ground. So, okay, well, it's good that there's some stuff coming.
Yeah.
Do you imagine that you'll be working together with them in shaping some of this? Is that a possibility?
We are continuing to have conversations. There has been a vision screening task force that the department put together with different stakeholders to have a conversation. I do think, it's time to continue that conversation, especially, now before legislative session, so we can
Yes.
come together and be ready. But one thing you said kind of resonated with me in terms of, as parents, you see your kids squinting. My mom's an ophthalmologist, and a very good one at that. Of course, I'm biased, but she's an amazing mother, first and foremost, amazing mother.
I think that's clear.
And thank you. And I went, I was in school, 7th grade. I remember social studies class, sitting at the front of the room and not being able to see the board. And I remember sitting there and being like, I can't see the board. And I went home and I told my mom, amazing mom, number 1, amazing ophthalmologist, number 2. And she said, just like I think, I'm not a parent yet, but I feel like a lot of parents are like, you're fine. Get back in the game.
Yeah.
Go be tough.
Did you open your eyes?
So I went back to school and I
continued
couldn't
to be a
see,
problem.
right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I went back to my mom, amazing ophthalmologist. And, sure enough, she took me in, tested my vision. I couldn't see the big E anymore. And it was that quick that my vision had changed. She's since done my LASIK. So, I can see.
I can use some LASIK.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if there's a barrier with me,
Yeah.
then you can only imagine the barriers.
It's just, yeah, exactly. Especially when there's funding, when it's state, city, and county funding, and how do we do that? So that's what it came down to. Someone decided in 1997 that, okay, we're having a bit of a shortfall in funding, so this is one of the programs that we're going to cut.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't make a priority of our kids' vision at that time in order to be able to reallocate a reduced amount of revenues for the state into something else.
Yeah, you think about the cost amortization with that, right? Like it's like these kids who can't see the board, they think they're stupid.
Exactly, that's opportunity cost.
Yeah.
What's being done there, right? I think you just used a different term, but I would refer to it as opportunity cost. What you've just done is you now have virtually a generation or near of it, because you started up in 2011, you said, right?
2007 we began operating.
Okay.
2011 we became a 501c3.
Got it. Okay. Excellent. So, but it's 2007, so it was still a decade. A generation or half a generation of kids didn't have the opportunity to have a regular eye screening. So perhaps, their opportunity to learn was decreased for those who were impacted by this.
Unless they had a friend in the school with the Lions Club, and God bless the Lions, we're both Lions.
Absolutely. We are, yes.
Rawr.
Yeah, exactly. No, and appreciate that. But what I know is still not all schools are gotten to.
Yeah,
Lion Club can't do that. You can't do that. We do everything we can.
Exactly.
So, but it begs the question over and over again. When we are prioritizing our revenues as a state, as a city and county, how are we possibly allowing our children to be a lower priority, to be the low priority that they often seem to be?
And the thing is, it wouldn't be necessarily that expensive to cover the entire state.
Do you have an idea of what that cost would be?
Well, I would say it would be less than $1 million, potentially, as long as all the systems are working together. So if the Hawaii Keiki nurses are working together with the school health aides, in order to there's a new technology that I wanted to kind of highlight called Eyesight 2020.
Perfect. Tell us about it.
It's a video game that does the vision screenings. They're a nonprofit themselves, smaller nonprofit based in Arizona, they've been implementing this for thousands of students. And we actually implemented it last year in the Waianae Coast, where these kids hadn't been screened for years.
Oh, wow.
And we screened 1,700 kids with it just on the Waianae Coast.
Over what period of time?
7 days.
1,700 kids in 7 days.
Yeah.
Using a video game.
Using a video game. And the kids love it. They love to play it. I don't know if you enjoyed your vision screening when you were a kid, but it takes away.
Follow the dot. So I follow the dot mostly, and can you see the E?
Yeah, right? Not like a jungle video game.
No.
So
When I was a kid, we didn't have those, but that's...
Yeah. But so we're excited to work with them, and
so it's called iSpy 2020.
Yeah.
And it's a technology utilizing a video game background in order to do an eye check.
Yes.
An eye assessment.
Yes, it can test for color vision blindness, stereopsis, which is one eye being stronger than the other, as well as near and far vision.
I believe we have it on our screen at the moment. Is this correct?
That's it. Yeah.
That is it exactly. So spectacular. So this is a video game that these kids use that you use and you implement with these children in order to help do these assessments.
Yeah, and we're trying to put it region by region, working with the Hawaii Keiki nurses.
Okay.
And then further from there, so our next area is the Windward Coast, in like Ka'ava, Kahalu, Kahuku,
Yeah.
areas that really aren't getting those services.
Right.
And we're looking at, if we're funded by this Entertainment Software Association, we could implement the screening in 23 schools over on the Windward Coast.
If funded, so that's a pending.
Yeah, but we are funded actually on the Big Island to implement it in 5 more schools. We've implemented it. We've so far implemented it in 10 schools.
Okay.
So I would
We
say
have
that's
245 more to go,
yeah, piece by piece.
piece by piece.
And so from there, also, we're trying to work this, public-private partnership, working with funders that are interested in funding regions.
Yeah.
So that for the glasses piece. So
Okay.
for very, very low-income kids working with Vision to Learn, we can provide glasses out of our buses. So that's in areas with like Title I schools with 65% free and reduced school lunch, the kids, and we've tried voucher programs with the Lions Club,
Sure,
and that's not
right.
working. The kids are not getting to the providers.
That's
So we
one of the
found-
things I was going to comment on as well. You're exactly right. I remember when we went to do our vision screening, if the kids didn't have a voucher, they couldn't participate. If they didn't show up with a signed document from their parent saying it's okay, they could not participate. So everyone sat there wishing they could do something to make sure this child's vision was good.
And maybe that child is the child that needs it most.
Maybe.
Because their parent maybe didn't see the sheet of paper, didn't care to sign it, or whatever.
Or sometimes it could be the
Or
kid's
just missed
fault.
it.
They
Yeah.
they lost it. It
Lot
was
of variables,
stuffed
but
in the
you-
bottom of their bag or something. You never know.
But
so therefore, but that's because it's a voluntary program. It's an opt-in program, not an opt-out program. So therefore, kids can be missed.
Yes, and it doesn't necessarily, from the discussions we've had with the Department of Education, there's FERPA, right, which is like the education version of HIPAA,
Yeah.
the DOE version
Yeah.
of HIPAA, which is, all about patient privacy and
Right.
very important to protect the information of our children and make sure that no one's coming and poking and prodding children. But apparently, we could do an opt-out. But it's really, we have to respect the wishes of the principals who we all know have way too much work to do.
Yes,
And
but,
so, but
I mean, what
potentially-
principal is going to say, no, I don't want to allow this? I mean,
Well,
no,
if
I
they're
want
concerned
to.
about liability for some reason.
Yeah, but that gets, I mean, I get that. But it's okay. If there are barriers, let's look at overcoming the barriers to
I
make sure
agree.
that the quality is happening.
Yeah.
To make sure the opportunity is there.
Yeah,
So I don't like to let barriers be the end of the road.
I totally agree. I'm on the same page. It should be opt-in. I would encourage principals out there to say
opt out.
Opt out.
Yeah.
Consent process and to allow, screening agencies that are well-equipped to do this.
It's similar though with I know like the flu shots and all that. That's an opt-in
Yeah,
type of a thing as well. And
which is a little different.
it's a little different
I think very different.
because we're introducing chemicals into
And you're penetrating the child's
the
skin.
child's skin, exactly.
And there's blood. And
Exactly. So that one makes sense that we have an opt-in scenario there. And I don't know, everybody I know opts in for that.
Yeah.
Because obviously you want to make sure your children are protected that way.
Of
What makes
course.
your eyes different? And why would someone not opt in to certainly a free eye check to make sure your kids' eyes and vision is where it needs to be, so so at the very least their opportunity to learn is not hampered by their vision. I mean, who would honestly say no to that?
I would say anecdotally, from what I've heard from parents, it is something we should probably study.
Yeah.
So that's a very good question.
Yeah.
But anecdotally, it's because they already took their kid to the eye doctor.
In which case, that's fine. Then that's a checkbox. Has this, in the last 6 months, has the child already gone? Good. Okay, now then they don't have to.
Yeah.
And that's how you just opted out.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
So certainly. Okay. Well, let's take another quick break. Okay, no, then we won't. Never mind then. We'll just continue on. Okay, so talk about the funding stream and all that stuff. How is Project Vision Hawaii funded at the moment?
We have had a pretty healthy growth cycle. We're a local nonprofit. Like we are we've gone from zero to where we are today, and we are boots on the ground. You will find me underneath the RV with a wrench, at the homeless shelter, in the school. The culture of our organization is everything is everyone's job, and we are a team and we do this together. So we've had a healthy growth cycle. We've started with, some independent donors, and then we moved into having a fiscal agent sponsor us for a statewide reach, and foundation, and then we've moved into some state and city funding.
Are you at liberty to name some of these entities?
Some of the entities, HMSA Foundation, Kaiser has been a great supporter, Ohana Health Plan, so the insurers have been a very good, supporters of us. A lot of the community foundations, Hawaii Community Foundation has been supportive, and the families under that entity, and as well as some independent anonymous donors.
I think that says a lot. I think it says a lot, really, as far as why there should be a focus, why there should be more of a priority. The fact that so many groups, so many entities, even insurance companies are making sure that you are providing this free service that they might otherwise say, oh no, bring them in, we'll take that, because they'll get money off of it. You know what? They want to make sure it's being done. So I think that's something that I think we don't hear a lot about. Our insurance companies are actually doing something like that, but I think it's wonderful. So, well, good. Congratulations on growing that.
Thank you.
Since 2007 to 2011, and then 2011 is when you became a...
Well, 2000, I was a volunteer before I was a staff member. So I actually became a Lion because of Project Vision. So I was working for the Retina Institute of Hawaii, who's the founding organization. And I was, doing whatever needed to be done there, and, volunteering with Project Vision. And I just felt I was at the Mililani Hawaii Kai pancake breakfast. And I was volunteering with the Lions, and they recruited me, and the rest is history.
Excellent.
And Lions have been so supportive, and Project Vision wouldn't be where it is today without the Lions Club.
I think that's great. There are other studies and other things that can be done. So one of the questions that I have, and we only have a minute left, but one of the other questions I have is the data that you collect. Do you do anything with it as far as reporting?
We've been involved with some research conferences, and we collect a lot of data, and we have a person specifically that helps with our data. We contract with her. So yeah, we evaluate, we do process and outcome evaluations on all of our services, and try to provide information to the state when they ask. We do reportings to the city, so they know what we're doing, and it's very stringent.
To the state when they ask. Do they ask regularly or every now and then?
The state, we report quarterly with the state.
Okay.
And then with the city, we report every month.
Okay, excellent. Okay, well, again, thank you so much. I think we could talk for another half hour easily.
Yeah.
But our show today is done.
Yes.
I thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. This is Think Tech Hawaii's Education Movers, Shakers, and Reformers. Thanks once again to Executive Director Annie Valentin from the Project Vision Hawaii. Also, thanks again to the crew and staff and everyone here at Think Tech Hawaii. We will see you next week. Mahalo.